Welcome back. Welcome back. New episode, Day and Night Podcast, man. We miss y'all. How y'all been? It's your boy, Freshman Feek.
My name is Cody Kleeman.
We back at it, man. How was your week, man? What's going on? What's
Man,
going on in Cody Kleeman's world?
Hey, man, the grind never stops. 8 straight days of working.
Okay, they got you working real hard.
Hey, bro, I've been grinding, man.
I was about to say you're about to work you like a slave, but I'm like, this might not be the best. Might not be the best timing, to plug that in there. That's good though.
Definitely, man. Just been working hard so I can save, maintain a good lifestyle. It's all about saving, working hard when you're young. I don't have no girlfriend, no kids, no nothing of that sort. So just I'm just trying to focus on making my money and advancing and things of
Pedal
that
to the
sort.
metal.
Pedal to the metal.
I like
for
that. That's
sure.
the type of grind. I like that.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that.
How about you? You've been grinding too?
Yeah, man. 5 days a week. Stockbroker.
Another vacation or?
Say it again.
Did you go on another vacation?
Matter of fact, I did. I went to Vegas last weekend. It was fun, dope. Chilled with a couple of homies. I had a partner of mine from Dallas that was in town. So, we're just kicking it, enjoying the vibes. Not much to do, really, because things are still closed. But the pools are open at the hotel, so you can still vibe out at the pool. You got to get there early, though. Because if you don't get there at like 10 a.m., 11 a.m., put your name on the wait list. The problem is they're only allowed a certain amount of capacity in the hotels at the pool. And people, once you're in there, people don't leave. You know what I mean? So once if you don't get there, if we got to the pool I think 1 p.m. thinking we can get in, got on the wait list, never got called back to go to the pool. You know what I mean?
Interesting. So there's a wait list. There can only be so many people
in
at
there. You still got
pool?
a social distance. You know what I mean? So the reason that they're open is because they have to follow those social distancing guidelines, which is good. You know what I mean? Keep the virus low down. And yeah. I still work. I helped my uncle out with a valet job yesterday, which was fun. So. You know what I mean? We just grinding out here. Yeah.
Same thing, different day.
Same shit, different day. Oh, I want to let y'all know if y'all hear any honkings or anything like that, excessive honking, it's right outside our building. Please bear with us. There's protesting going on right outside. But to be honest with you, that's the perfect backdrop for our first topic. You know what I mean? Our first topic right now, we're getting into the Jacob Blake situation and the protests that are happening. So that excessively long honk you just heard is backing me up on, about me addressing the topic.
There's hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Hundreds of people.
But yeah, man, so let's get into it. We know what happened with Jacob Blake. If you guys aren't aware, this was in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Another unarmed black man was unfortunately shot by the police. The video came out. He was shot in the back as he was walking to his car. Now, to give all the facts, the police say that he had a knife in the car. The video doesn't really show him possessing a knife, or in my opinion, doesn't show him posing a threat to the officers. And there were 3 of them, 1 of him. So, take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, the video shows, and you can describe your perspective of what you saw in the video. The video I saw, he's walking from around the car up to the driver's side door. He opens his door, turns his back on the cops, and then that's when they start unloading. Is that the same perspective or you had, or what did you see in the video?
Well, give me your full kind of like vibe on the whole subject of what you saw, your feedback and all of that, and then I'll kind of give you mine.
Okay, so yeah. So I mean, it feeds into the same notion that I feel like police officers have a very, very, very short fuse when it comes to people of color, right? They're always, they even approach me like I've gotten pulled over and the cop is walking to my car with his hand on his hip just to ask me for my license and registration. You know what I mean? Like,
well, they do that for everybody. They do that for me too.
I've never seen. I've been in a car with other people and I've never seen that. But if that's the case, then that's still wrong. You know what I mean? Like why are you coming with that type of animosity off the rip? But in terms of this situation, you see the video, he's going to his car, his kids are inside the car, 3 kids in the back of the car, and the cop shoots 7 times. I feel like that's ridiculous. The guy is unarmed. There's 3 of y'all. Like, do they have no takedown techniques? Like, is that what they're trained in school, or in the police academy? To take down a suspect, shoot him in the back. You know what I mean? And that's and it's funny because when the protest happened with your boy, what's his name? Kyle Rittenhouse, the 17-year-old white kid that came. I don't even think he's from Kenosha. You think he was from Illinois, another state. So he crossed state with a AR-15 or some type of assault rifle. And I think, yes, he thought it was his duty to go and protect the Target on the street, or let's protect the Walmart that he doesn't even own. And the things got escalated, and he ended up killing 2 people and shooting and injuring another one, so 3 people in total. And after he guns down 2 people, he walks towards the cops as the cops are coming towards the protesters with his AR-15 and walks right past the cops. So if you juxtapose that situation with Jacob Blake's situation, you think he has a knife. You haven't even seen it yet, right? And the only reason they knew he had a knife because he told them earlier, like, yes, I have a knife in the car for protection. Like, who doesn't have protection? It's America, right? You're allowed to have a weapon in America. So he told you he has a knife in the car, but you shoot him 7 times in the back. This guy is walking with an AR-15 towards you. You just let him stroll on right by you as you're going down the street. So if you weigh those 2 options, what 2 things are different in that case? So I think that's in my view, that's the perfect like day and night view of how they treat one group of people who they think may be armed. So we have to shoot him first because he may have a weapon, and another group of people, we see him have a weapon, but nah, he's not a threat. Just you know what I'm saying? Just let him go by. That's like, that was the perfect like observation with the two views. What do you think?
I mean, I hear you out. I mean, I think it is, obviously, they shouldn't, shoot him in the back. I mean, they did taser them twice. He did have assault charges. There was a warrant out for his arrest for a 3rd-degree assault charge, domestic violence charges. As I was saying, they used the taser twice. They told him to get down. They told him to stop. He resisted arrest. He had a knife, and he even told the officers he had a knife.
Yeah,
He even put the officers in a headlock. So, the officers told him several times, like, just stop. So I feel that if he would have just, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying,
but it kind of is, like, you're not saying the exact words, but when you say like this, if he would have done this.
I'm saying that he was provoking it to happen. He was provoking it, like, oh, shoot me. That, like, more or less.
But But you saw the video, though, right?
I saw the video. So he was walking around, but he kept resisting arrest. If he would have just been like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm not doing anything. Take me out. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything wrong. There would have been no problem, but they tried tasering.
But we saw the George Floyd situation. What was he doing? He was doing the same thing, and that's why we have these protests outside. It's like people always say what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do that. If my hands are up, your hands should have been down. If your hands are down, he may think you're reaching for something. Your hands are got to be up. You roly poly. You know what I'm saying? We have to go through all these hoops just to not get killed. When a white kid can walk around with an assault weapon and not even be looked at twice walking down the street. So how do you square those 2 things?
Well, all I know is with Rittenhouse, this is just from what I read, is that he was protecting a mechanic. He was protecting one of the offices, things of that sort. And one of the protesters, well, actually several protesters came up to him and approached him.
He was protecting a mechanic?
No, I don't remember if it was a mechanic exactly, but he was protecting a specific business
that he owned.
I don't know exactly what it was, but I just know he was.
Because he didn't live he's not even from that area.
Yeah.
So what stake does he have to even be there?
Well, all I know is.
Or was he looking for a fight to go there and then had that as an excuse, like, oh, this shop right here, I saw somebody spray painting on it, so I'm going with my gun to. You know what I mean? Like, he's looking for trouble.
Yeah. I mean, this is just what I read was that he was protecting a business, and his lawyer was saying that the protesters were coming up to him saying like, oh, get him, and were basically approaching him, and they hit him over the head with like stuff, and they were battering him, and he shot them in self-defense, more or less. Like, so he didn't just go on a rampage and start shooting him.
But you notice who you're quoting, though, right? His lawyer.
Well, his lawyer, and this is what was just said kind of in court, more or less.
Yeah, by the defense. By the defense team. Everybody else that was that was around.
Well,
there.
I don't know the other side. This is just what I read is that he was doing it in self-defense, as they had already hit him, they already battered him, they already basically they were trying to take his gun from him,
trying
to shoot him, trying to basically take his gun and try and basically kill him. So he was shooting them in self-defense, and then he ran up to the cops like, oh, these guys are, they're trying to kill me or whatever.
No, I saw the video when he was right next to the cops.
I didn't see the video. This is just what I heard.
That's what I'm saying. Instead of reading it, just watch the actual documentation. The proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean? Because when you're reading the defense, the no lawyers and stuff like that, you can always try to create a narrative of what happened, or you can just watch the video.
Yeah.
The proof is in the pudding. He's walking down the street looking for trouble. He goes, I don't know if this is before the actual shooting or after. He's walking with the police officers, and they're giving him water. Police officers are handing them water while they're carrying assault rifles on the street. You're telling me that if one of the protesters had an AR-15 on the street, just standing there, not even like not shooting people, just standing there, walking there, and those police came by.
I'm surprised that they didn't shoot him.
You don't think they were going to address him?
I'm surprised that they didn't shoot him or do that. So I agree on that. I do agree on that of like why wouldn't you shoot him or taser him or subdue him or anything of that sort.
There's little chaos going on the street, and y'all turn a corner and y'all see a dude with a fucking AR-15.
Yeah,
and y'all don't.
No, I agree with that. I agree that I don't know why they didn't handle the situation differently. So I'm like full in on that one. That's a little, it's
weird. It's really not confusing to me.
Yeah, it's weird.
If he had black skin, that wouldn't have happened like that. I mean, how else can you square that? You know what I mean? Like you have to go through like gymnastics to try to like find a reason as to they must have been justified. You know what I mean? When the elephant in the room is pretty clear, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, but kind of jumping back to the whole Jacob situation, I don't think it was right that they had shot him. I think that they should have, taken him down. But in their minds, what they were thinking was this guy has a knife. He has an assault rifle. He's deadly.
Assault rifle.
I mean, he just has an assault. A warrant out for like his assault charges and domestic violence, so they're thinking that he's like very aggressive.
Well, what the police job when somebody has
is to take them down, and I understand
and bring them to court. And that's what the warrant is for. The warrant is not for police to go out to execute.
No, I agree. They shouldn't be shooting them.
So the bare minimum is to do their job, right?
Yeah.
So if they're incapable. So this is what we're saying.
If they're in training all the time to take these people down with a knife, they should, take them down or box them, and they should do everything in their willpower. Because like when you think about it, even when they're in a police chase or even in movies, you see these officers, they have the opportunity to shoot him, but they'll
at any time.
But shoot him in like a leg or something to to kind of make them like and then arrest them more or less. And I think that they should have maybe not shot him in his back, but maybe but they tried tasering him, but maybe so you're telling me non-aggressive bullets or something not like that aggressive. Like you're right, they do train and develop their officers to basically to take people down with knives, even with weapons in general,
even with a weapon,
and that they should. But the thing is these guys probably they weren't thinking that. They were probably just thinking like, this guy's aggressive.
Okay,
this guy has a knife. Who knows what this guy's gonna do? Who knows what is going through their mind.
Yeah. And that's okay. And I'll give you that point. I'll secede to that point. The next point is when these situations happen and those officers, okay, maybe they're in fear for their lives or whatever the case is, right? And they act what's the word? Irresponsibly. Like you're losing lethal force when you can simply take them down. We both agree to that they shouldn't have shot him in the back, right? But maybe they were like, oh, this guy's dangerous or whatever. Now we know that they shouldn't have done that. So now they should be held accountable for their actions.
And that's exactly what they're doing right now. They're on administrative leave, and
instead of being arrested, bro, they should be arrested for that.
Well, that's what they're going.
Attempted murder.
So they're looking at all the details of what was going on. They're looking at the footage. They don't want to just fire somebody off the get go. Like they want to do their due diligence. Like that's their livelihood,
Right.
Like there's a lot of people, they should just be fired for not doing their job or something. So they want to get all the facts straight before firing him.
But why?
Just like the other case.
Okay, so if I go commit armed robbery right now,
you still go to court. You still go to court. But they still look at the facts.
Exactly. But what am I doing while they're looking at the facts?
I don't know what they're doing right now. I just know that they're on administrative leave right now.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if I'm committing a crime, before I'm found guilty, I'm arrested for that crime. And then the trial happens. They look at all the facts, and then I'm either found guilty or non-guilty, right? So these officers, it's like people in our community
You
are
put an
always.
officer in jail, they're gonna get killed, more or less.
No, you put them in
because
in PC.
and put them in PC or in protective custody. Maybe they are. Maybe we don't know the full story.
They're not arrested. Why do you think people are
if they tell
protesting in
us
the
like,
street?
oh, the customers are in. I mean the officers are in protective custody. They're gonna look for him. And where is this guy? You know?
No.
Stuff like that.
I don't think you understand what protective custody is.
No.
Protective custody is a different wing of
Oh,
the
yeah,
actual
yeah,
jail
yeah.
where the regular, general population of the inmates are not.
Either way,
you know what I mean?
either way is that they're looking into it, and I'm sure there is going to be certain discipline. They're going to
We'll see.
evaluate the whole.
But that's the
exactly
thing.
we're going to
So
see.
we'll see.
You know, the thing is that I feel that they are going to do their due diligence. They're going to be with the lawyers, go back and forth. They're going to look at the evidence. They're going to look at both sides of the story, and then they're going to make their decision. I mean, I think that they're doing what they would do in any situation is evaluate the whole situation and see what it is. Yeah, they shouldn't have shot him with bullets in the back, but they had tasered
But
him.
that's
they had done every aspect that they should have.
But that's what I'm saying.
And they should have,
that's the
taken
main
him
point.
down, even though he did maybe have a knife, and he even told the officers, "I have a knife."
Yeah, you actually have any weapons on you? Yes, I have a knife in the car. Full disclosure.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
Is it illegal to have a knife?
He shouldn't have.
But is it illegal to have a
provoked
knife?
him. But then again, the officers shouldn't have, shot him, but they also shouldn't have provoked. Like, it's almost like people are like, "Come on, shoot me," like they're antagonizing the cops and all.
No,
that.
I'm just
the cops
trying to.
The cops shouldn't do that.
And you know why the cops are called there?
Do that.
The cops are called there for there was a fight that he was breaking up. It was two girls that were fighting, and he was playing peacemaker. So he was, you know what I mean? He was playing peacemaker in this situation, and then he winds up in that situation with his kids in the car. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see how you can justify the fact that cops, whenever they hit it,
after being tasered twice. I mean, if it was you and you got pulled over, and they were telling you, like, basically, if you knew you were innocent and you didn't do anything wrong, right? Wouldn't you just comply with what they said? Like, okay, cool, let me listen.
So this is a situation. Say me and you were driving. You're driving a car, right? We're rolling down the street. We get pulled over. They're asking you for your license and registration. I'm just in the passenger seat. I'm not even operating the vehicle.
No, not both us together. Just you driving.
No. I'm giving you a situation.
Right.
So this is because I'm giving you the equivalent of this situation, because the issue of them being there were the two girls fighting. He was playing peacemaker, so they weren't called for him. You get what I'm saying? So the equivalent is you're driving, maybe you're speeding on the road, right? And the cop pull you over for speeding, and then the other cop comes and tells me, "Get out the car." And I'm like, what the fuck? He's the one driving. You know what I mean? And then they're going to be like, "No, you get out the car right now. Hands behind your back." I'm going to get agitated. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I didn't do anything wrong. Why are you pulling me? That's the equivalent. It's like, so now the onus is on me to just do whatever they say. I don't know if you're going to put me in the back of the cop car, beat me up or whatever. So now it's my responsibility. He's the one that's getting paid with our tax dollars, but I'm the one that's supposed to be responsible, right? That's what the public is saying. The obligation is on me to act right, to not get killed, not on the people who we are paying to protect and serve, right? So when they come to the situation, now it's my job. Okay, what am I supposed to do? Do I have any training for this shit? No, they're the ones that are getting paid to come here. So when they pull me out the car and I'm resisting because I'm like, yo, he's driving the car. Why are y'all pulling me out the car, trying to search me, trying to see what I have and shit like that, so run my name and warrants? I'm not driving the vehicle. So if I were to resist in that situation, it'd be like, no, you're not handcuffing me. What the fuck? And then they shoot me and the video comes out. If you didn't know me, you would be like, but look at him. He's resisting. Right?
I mean, I've been pulled over before and they thought I was drunk. Like, oh, I was swerving, but really, I was maybe doing something else.
Right.
And even though I knew I wasn't drunk, I knew I had nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I stepped out of the car, I walked a straight line and gave him my license. I did everything like that.
Yeah.
And I drove off. Because I wasn't drunk. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I have nothing to worry about. As long as I comply, then there shouldn't be any problem.
Now, have you had that situation where you weren't operating the vehicle? Say you weren't operating the vehicle.
But he wasn't in an operation with a vehicle. I don't understand how you're kind of getting at.
But because I'm saying that, so you being pulled over, the issue of you being pulled over is the driver, right? The problem is with the driver. The officers being in that situation, the problem were the two girls fighting. So the officer, their attention should be on the two girls fighting. Why is their attention even on him in the first place? That's what I'm saying. Like, once they get there, they see, oh, black man, and then that's where they're going with their attention. Like, yo, the issue's right here. Why are you even trying to apprehend him and shit like that?
He also had a warrant out for his arrest too.
Okay, but
so that's probably why. I mean, I agree. You know, why would they suddenly go for him? I agree on that. Why would they suddenly go for him?
right.
So he was probably resisting arrest and all that stuff because he had a warrant out. He didn't want to go to jail. He didn't want to do all that. So that's why he probably was resisting, because he was already in deep shit anyways. So he didn't want to go even more deep down, you know, was because he already knew he was in trouble.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, screw it. You know, I'm already in trouble. You know, I might as well just, you know, resist arrest and drive off and just risk it anyways, because he has nothing to lose.
So what's the protocol on that? When a suspect is resisting arrest, what's the protocol? All we're asking for is police to follow protocol. Is that so hard to do? And when you don't follow protocol, be held accountable.
So how many police officers are in the United States?
I don't know.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Okay. Hundreds of thousands. Maybe even a million.
Right.
Probably even millions of officers.
Yeah.
Right. So these are maybe 5 incidents, you know, and I already know what you're gonna say is like, oh, these are the only ones we have on film. But we don't get. What about, see, the media is gonna give the audience what they want to hear. Right now, the Black Lives Matter protest and all that stuff is a hot topic. It's at an all-time high. Obviously, the NBA protests. You know,
and we'll get into that.
Yeah, the NBA, you know, protests. You know, it's, you know, everything is it's just hot right now. It went from the coronavirus being everything, to now it's the Black Lives Matter protests and all of that stuff. So the audience right now is naturally wanting to get more of that stuff. So, you know, what is the news station going to do? They're going to give them that. So they're going to look at all the videos. They're going to look at and they're going to send that. They're not going to give you good stories about like, oh, this officer helped this person save this person's life, or this officer saved this person, or, oh, you know, this white person was pulled over and stuff like that. Like they don't show those videos because the audience doesn't want to see that. They want to see these videos where, you know, African Americans are getting beat up, are getting, you know, things of that sort. The audience wants to see that,
because that's
naturally they're going to give them that.
But that's where the injustice is happening. So you have to shine a light when things are going wrong. That's what you want to fix. When things are going right, you can. It's not
a perfect world though,
but
and I'm not agreeing with what they did. But I'm saying, I'm sure there's stuff that happens there out to whites, to Mexicans, to black. I'll tell you straight up,
which does. I mean, not in the numbers. Like, we're 13% of the population, African Americans, but we're like 3 times as more likely to be shot by unarmed.
And I'm not gonna lie,
so those numbers jump up. If we're only 13% of the population, those incidents should be happening 13% of the time.
Yeah, and
right?
I'm not gonna lie, like there's been a totally change in visual of white people in general.
What do you mean?
Just me in general. Like, it sounds like it doesn't sound true, but like, I went grocery shopping, right? I don't get, and obviously, you know, I don't know, maybe you would be able to relate to this before, maybe not, I don't know, but this is just what I've kind of experienced over the last month or two, is going out to those grocery stores or doing outdoor activities, and you may like think, you know whatever, but I'll get like different smirks. I'll be treated differently by African Americans now with all these protests happening.
Interesting.
I've been looked at dirty by you know, African American people before, automatically assuming I'm racist, automatically just not liking me because of my skin color. I've had racism done on me, prejudging. You know?
Okay.
I've been having that ever since these protests started. I've been having that.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be certain aspects at. Just, I don't want to give certain incidents, you know, in general. Yeah. So things don't backfire, but I've had several incidents all the time. You know, I don't say anything.
Like smirks and stuff like that? Or
smirks just of how people handle situations.
Like customer, you know, or like employees of places or something? Or
yeah, just stuff of that sort. Like, you know, I don't make a huge scene out of it. Yeah. But I've definitely experienced, you know, racial, you know, acts over the past couple months. 100%.
Racial tension, and I would agree. You know, racial tensions in America right now are very high. So you know what I mean. Everybody is on edge. You know what I mean. So you're 100% right about that because of the climate that we're in, right? So now imagine having to deal with that. What you experienced that's like Miller Lite. You know what I mean? Like the light version of what Black people have had to deal with for so long. And I'm not saying that it's right. Like, our country does need to just, like, you know what I'm saying, woosah, like, release the pressure valve, you know what I mean? Let pressure subside. And how that happens, I think the first step is holding police accountable when they do wrong, right? When we acknowledge that, okay, the guy wasn't the perfect, like, he didn't just stand there and let him be handcuffed. We understand that. But the bigger mistake, the what's the word I'm looking for? The bigger mistake isn't him resisting arrest. The bigger mistake is them pulling out the gun and shooting him in the back. That's the more consequential action. Him resisting arrest is not going to put any of those cops' lives in danger, as in, like, they might lose their life. Him just, like, fussing around and, like, you know, they're trying to tackle him and he's, like, resisting. None of that is going to result to those officers dying, right?
As an officer, you're supposed to basically do every aspect. I'm not an officer. I don't do training. I don't do anything of this sport. But from what I know is you try and subdue them in every aspect before firing. And if you see somebody with a whether it be a gun or a knife, if you try and tackle that person down and they have a knife, they can just stab you in the neck and then you're dead.
But they didn't see a knife.
You know?
The only reason they
said they did see a knife.
No, they
and
saw
the
a
officers
knife
said
after.
the night officers said
In
even
the car.
in the video they said put the knife down, put the knife down, put the knife down.
They say that all the time. You haven't seen that? It's funny that you say that because there was a video where a guy was filming. He got pulled over by the cop. And the cop was looking in the car, right? He already has his gun on his hand on his gun, and he's like, "Hey, oh, put the gun down, put the gun down." And he's recording it, and I'm like, he's like, "What the hell are you talking about? There's no gun here." Like he was saying those words so his partners can hear him in the back. So if he were to just jump out and shoot, he's justified. And then now in court, he's like, "No, see, you heard me say it. I thought he had a gun. You heard me say it in the moment." You know what I mean? So they use these key phrases to they know it's gonna get all the audio and video is gonna get played back in court. So now he has the audio of him saying, "Put the gun down. Why'd you say that?" "Oh, because I thought he had a gun." Right? Like these things don't happen. Like these guys aren't dumb. You know what I mean? Like they do that.
I mean, I don't know about that. I don't know about that story or you know what you said, but from what I just heard, I heard put the knife down, put the knife. All three of them were saying put it down, put it down. So if you naturally see somebody with a knife and you're not going to tackle them, you know?
You subdue them.
Or I mean, they should subdue them. They are officers, so they should subdue them.
That's exactly
they
what
shouldn't have shot him in the back. And now if he pulled out a gun, you know,
and aims it at you.
That's a little different.
Those are the situations.
Is when you shoot at somebody.
Understandable.
So that's the only way you should shoot at somebody. Is
now
if they
we're coming to an understanding.
Is where they have a gun and they show a gun. Now when it's a knife, you can defense that. Like the officer, they tried tasering him. He got up, tasered him again. They tried telling him to go down. So they tried all those different aspects. Yeah. So if their
What's the next thing you do?
So if their car is blocked in front, and the guy can't go out anyways, what is he? You know, I don't understand.
But at that point, there's three officers,
and he was getting ready to drive off. So I mean,
but there's three officers. You're telling me three people can't physically contain one person? Is that you want?
But he has one hand with a knife, and all they need is to stand.
Bro, you didn't see the video.
I just heard them say, "Put the knife down, put the knife down, put the knife down."
But look at your eyes.
And they even found the knife, and he told them he had a knife.
That's why they're saying put the knife down, because they had knowledge that the guy said he had a knife in the video. So now they're justified to say put the knife down. You understand? If he didn't tell them he had a knife in the car, they wouldn't have said that because they didn't see a knife. You saw the video. Did you look at the video?
Yeah.
So what? So like, where are we on the disconnect? He's walking in front of the car. You see both of his hands. There's nothing in his hands. He's walking to the front door. Immediately as he opens the door, they shoot him in the back. When did he grab the knife?
I mean, maybe in his pocket. I don't know. All I know is I agree that maybe they shouldn't have shot him in the back. Yeah. You know, I don't.
So that's what the protests are about. So you agree with why the protests are happening? Because we're all in agreement they shouldn't have shot him.
I mean, they are trained to take somebody down if they do have, you know, a knife or some type of weapon. If they have a gun, absolutely, I would have agreed. You know, you try tasering him, you try doing all these things.
Correct.
But he pulls out an automatic weapon. Absolutely.
100%. Like Kyle Rittenhouse.
100%. Right? If someone pulls out a weapon, I'm gonna stand full force and be like, you. That's exact. That's you know. That's
why it's mind-boggling why they didn't do that with somebody who had a weapon, right?
I don't know what happened with the knife, but I know is that there is millions of cops out there in the United States. These have been, a couple incidents,
videotaped incidents.
Videotaped incidents.
So remember, and video nowadays in the newer age, everybody has a like high definition camera. Really, that's what it is, a cell phone.
Now let's say you're a police officer and 90% of the arrests that you make are African American or Hispanics. So naturally in your mind as a human being, you're naturally already, even if you don't want to, like you don't want to, like your full intention isn't to be judgmental. Naturally in your mind, from arresting 90% of the people from crimes and shootings and killings and bank robberies and thefts and all of that stuff, 90% of the people that you're taking in are African American or Hispanic.
Which those numbers aren't true. But
I'm just thinking in general, because I know like a majority of, like in the news, that's what they were saying, is a majority of, like in the 60 Minutes episode, of them are, Hispanic or black. And naturally in your mind, you're thinking, oh, this person is African American or Hispanic.
So they're inherently that's what you're thinking.
Thinking like, oh, they're just jumping the gun already. So in their mind, they're already thinking.
So that's where the issue. So you're describing the problem.
They're already thinking like, oh, this person, I've arrested 90% or 80% or whatever. Majority of my arrests have been African American.
So I'm going to prejudge somebody who I haven't met. I'm going to prejudge him. Even though I don't know
based off his criminal background, based off of all of these things.
No, not based off. You're just encountering him. You're just encountering him.
Yeah, but you can pull up their license plate and all that stuff. If anything.
But what if somebody else is driving? You don't know who's driving the car.
Yeah.
So you're prejudging.
I'm just assume. You
just described what happened to you in stores and stuff like that. Prejudging.
They're prejudging you.
So that's the issue.
So naturally. But
that's wrong.
But that's going to be for life. Like, there's always going to be that one or two people. There's always going to be people out there that are going to have those judgments. So no matter how many protests we have, no matter how many riots, no matter how many anything, we're always going to have prejudgmental police officers and people in general.
And
no matter how many we do that. Now, it's been a lot better. Obviously, we went from people owning people, where people were only 3/5 of a person, and they were doing hardcore labor,
right?
To now we're all equal,
Yeah.
I mean, not like in general, like we have people in the workplace we work with that are different nationalities.
Yeah, of course.
Have,
you know what I mean?
So
human
obviously
society has gotten
it's transitioned a significant amount.
Yeah, but however,
but it's never going to be eliminated. It's one thing that will never be eliminated. We can always try, but there's always going to be that state or those people or those things that are always going to be set in their ways.
So do you know what the bare minimum is on that? If we so let's take your premise to be fact. There's always going to be those people who are going to have prejudices. There's always going to be those people who are going to be discriminatory. And if those people find their way into the police force, we're giving you the power of life and death.
But how do you sift out of those people?
But listen to where I'm going with it. The people who we give that type of supreme power to, the power of life and death to carry a weapon and be able to take somebody's life. If they act on those prejudices incorrectly and they make a mistake like the George Floyd cop did, like the officer who shot him in the back, we've already come to an agreement. He shouldn't have shot him in the back. There has to be criminal responsibility on that.
And I agree, and that's when that doesn't happen. But you have to give them.
That's why the protests are happening. That's what the protests are happening. Yes, and part of the act happening. But if all these cops were being held responsible for it, people wouldn't be in the street. Because think about it, when there's crime in society, when one person kills another person, guess what we can reasonably expect? That person who did the murder, guess what? They're going to jail, right? When these cops kill unarmed people, majority of the time they don't go to jail. That's where the protests are coming from. They're killing us with immunity or impunity, whichever word is the correct one. That's the issue. They're not being held accountable. That's why the protests are happening.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. All I know is that they're probably I don't know. I agree. If you were a normal person, you were to shoot somebody, yeah,
you're going to be in jail while you're waiting trial.
Well, who puts you in jail? It's the officer. So now when the actual officer is the one doing the shooting,
now you're getting to the point. Now they're protecting each other.
It's just an exclusion,
They're protecting each other. They're protecting each other because who's gonna police the police?
Who's gonna police the police?
That's the issue.
You can't.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's just
which is why people are in the streets, because shit is messed up.
I mean, I don't know what the situation with that is, but all I know is that you know, they're going to do their due diligence. They're going to look at the facts. They're not just going to be like, oh, yeah, there's protests happening and, oh, this is happening. Yeah, we're just going to throw them in the jail right away and we're just going to fire them and we're going to mess up their livelihood because their life is on the line. If they go into jail,
so is everybody else's.
Their life.
So is another murderer that killed somebody.
That's why they want to get all the facts together.
But they're in jail while they're looking at the facts. A civilian is going to be in jail while they're looking at the facts, and then 6 months later, 8 months later, when trial happens, guess what? We looked at the facts. You're not guilty. You can be let out. Hold police to the same the same accountability.
Yeah, I mean, they're on administrative leave. I don't know what you do during administrative leave.
Meaning they're getting paid to not work. Whoop-de-doo. That's what everybody in America right now that's getting the unemployment check is on administrative leave. Are they happy about that? Hell yeah, they're happy about that. They're kicking their feet up, collecting checks, and not having to go to work. That's administrative leave.
Yeah,
we're not firing you, but you can't be working right now. But your checks are still coming in. Your healthcare is still good. So they're living a cozy life.
As I was saying, there's always going to be those people that are going to be racially discriminated against, or that there's always going to be racism. No matter how many protests, no matter how many looting, no matter how much goes on, there's always going to be that. You know, it's never going to be completely just like world hunger. You can feed 1 million people. There's still going to be people that are going to be hungry in the streets.
To be honest, my opinion is the world can.
We can try and limit it.
I think world hunger can be solved if.
Well, okay, world hunger, yeah, that's maybe different, yeah. I mean, there's enough billionaires.
But I'm just saying. But I also think so prejudices. I think you're right. People are always going to have their preconceived notions and stuff like that. But the acting on those prejudices and acting on racism, that can be severely reduced if the people that do it are held accountable.
But do you not think that there's African Americans that are racist towards white people?
I think there's some black people who may or may not call white people names, or I mean, when was the last time you heard of a story of somebody physically assaulting somebody?
Hearing of a story. We haven't heard it because the audience doesn't want to hear it. So they're going to give the audience what they want to hear, which is
why wouldn't
a white officer
doing
something to an
I don't want to label like a group of people, but like this is just a segment of society. You don't think Trump supporters, that audience wouldn't want to hear of the story of a black person racially attacking a white person simply on the fact that they're white? You don't think they want to hear that story and prop it up and be like, look at that, it happens? There's a segment of society that wants to hear that. But where are those stories happening in great numbers like media, we hear in our stories?
It's channels 1 through 7 or 2 through 7.
Do you know why Do you know why that's happening? Because it's easy foundable. You can find it like that. Mm-hmm. That's why it's the media is picking it up.
Everyone's recording it.
Everyone's recording it. So everybody's recording. Or are you telling me like Trump supporters don't have cameras too?
Yeah.
They don't document their everyday experiences? Mm-hmm. They're not uploading. And you can't even say the media now. It's social media era, baby.
Yeah.
These stories pop up on social media where the news has they have no choice but to cover it when it's going viral. Mm-hmm. So social media is the great equalizer. So if these were happening in great numbers, like you're saying, like you think it did, it's not even up to ABC. When's the last time you watched CNN? And do you tune into that shit? We just watch social media. Like all these videos that we see, they hit social media first, and then CNN picks it up a day later or whatever, a night later after the video has already gone viral. So I think social media is the reason why we're hearing more about the killing of unarmed black men and women. It's because
social media and the media
are uploading it.
They give this. It's all the social media.
Yeah. But social media is
never. The videos and all of this stuff was never of abundance when it wasn't.
Exactly, which is why we're hearing more of these stories. That's what I'm telling you. This is why we're hearing about it so much. I guarantee you,
after this Jacob Blake thing, I'm sure what's going to happen is they're going to eventually, put the officers in jail, and maybe there's going to be another riot.
Remember this.
There's going to be what?
That's what you expect to happen.
Yeah, I expect.
After all the video, you think there should be okay. I'm not going to hold you to that high of a standard.
I think they're going to.
I understand this country. They're not going to jail, but you think there should be some disciplinary action. That's what you're saying. Whether it be terminated from you think based on all the facts you have.
I don't have all the facts.
Okay, so no. I'm saying based on the facts that you have right now. Do you think they should just go back on the job? Would that be appropriate? Like, we reviewed everything and then you guys are hired again. You guys no. Do you think no disciplinary action should happen? Do you think some disciplinary action should happen, or do you think criminal charges should be pressed? Which one of those things do you think is more likely, based on the video and based on everything?
I can't give a definite answer because I'm not the one who has physically talked with the officers. I haven't physically talked with the family. I'm not the lawyer. I haven't heard all of the facts.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard all those things. So I can't give you a definite answer. You know?
Fair enough,
I think that they should, evaluate the whole situation, just like in a case. Fighting a ticket. They hear both sides. You're going to do it that way. So I'm just seeing what I read from the news, I haven't heard the personal statements. I haven't heard the visuals from that. So I haven't heard the whole story.
But you saw the video.
Yeah, I saw the video, but that was one video.
Yeah.
I didn't hear both sides.
All right. So, so let's phrase it like this. So I'm not going to hold you if other facts come out and we see that he had a assault rifle in the car or whatever. I'm not holding you to that. This based on the video. Say the video is the most illuminating evidence that we have after they do their whole conversation.
Also, they didn't show you the whole video. Did you see the video of him getting tasered and him taken down?
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, I only saw when he was walking around the car and they shot him in the back.
Yeah, that video came out like 2 days ago. The video of them trying to take him down. If 3 guys can't take down one dude, sorry, you guys are in the wrong business.
Yeah.
Go.
I mean,
as
well, there's
so at bare minimum,
millions of cops. These are incidents,
Tell me. Tell me. Trust me. I believe
1%, 2%.
Most cops are good. Yeah, I agree. Most cops are honest.
You see out them on Christmas Toys for Tots. They do good things.
But listen,
they're not all bad people. There's gonna be those bad bunch.
And those bad bunch need to be disciplined.
And that's what they're doing. They're looking at all the facts. They're evaluating it, and they're gonna make their decision.
The cops who killed Breonna Taylor, bro. They ran into the wrong house and murdered her in her house. Those cops haven't even been arrested. So that's why the protests are happening. Not because we know that in every job, you're a salesperson. There's a bunch of bad salespeople, right? But eventually they're not going to make money. They're going to lose their job. Stockbroker. There's a lot of stockbrokers who aren't good and they're not going to succeed. The problem is the bad cops, majority of the time they get glanced over, and when they do bad, they kind of brush their stories under the rug, and they don't get reprimanded and they don't get disciplined. That's where the problem is. We're not saying 100% of the cops are bad. We're saying the 2% or 3% of the bad ones. Why isn't anything happening to those people? Why aren't the 97% of cops who say they are good? Why aren't they speaking out against the bad ones?
I mean, they probably don't know them on a personal level.
No, just speaking out in general. Like, yo, man, what they did was fucked up. Like,
I have seen that when they did the protest. The head sergeant has taken a kneel and walked with protesters.
That was great. That was a sign.
I've seen people take kneels. I've seen the officers do that.
That's
so
new.
They are on the same boat, and as okay, there should be equality and things of that sort.
And once that happens more and more often, that's when we'll move to a better America.
There's always going to be racism in the world.
And when that racism happens,
and there's going to be
throw
white
them under the jail.
There's going to be white and black racism, and there's going to be black people that are racist against white people. And there will always be black people that are racist against white people. 100%.
And throw those people under the jail.
Yeah.
Throw them under the jail. When
but
it happens,
even
throw
if
them under the jail.
Exactly.
But what we see majority of the times is white people racist against black people, and a lot of times they don't get like a reprimand or thrown under the jail. America ain't got no problem throwing people of color in jail. That's why we're 13% of the population make up 50%. You think that's by design.
How much of the crime is done by those 13%?
How much of the police are in those areas and not in other areas where crime is happening, but police aren't patrolling those areas? You know what I mean? If you control the resources, put the drugs in the neighborhoods of people of color. If you're funneling the drugs in there and you label that as illegal activity, then those are the people you're gonna have. Black people don't own any boats. Cocaine comes from like Colombia and shit like that. Who's bringing that stuff and bringing it into the inner cities? Black people don't own any distribution companies and shit like that on a large scale. So how is cocaine from Mexico, from Pablo Escobar in the 70s, 80s? How were they getting into Watts and Compton and LA? How do you think they were getting there?
Well, they're taking him in there. I don't know.
How?
Transportation. It's not the police. The police aren't bringing them in.
What I want you to do when you go home, Google the Iran-Contra scandal.
I mean, maybe we're not even gonna get into that because that's a whole other episode.
But you kind of fell in there right there. It's not the police. Google the Iran-Contra. This is in the 70s and 80s. under the
70s and 80s.
Yeah, this was a huge.
It's 2020.
This is CIA, son.
Yeah.
This is at the top level. It's not no 1-2 crooked cops. This is at the highest level of American government.
Yeah.
You know
I mean, there's always going to be, now kind of transitioning to the whole
NBA protest.
The NBA protest.
Yeah.
Them not playing, things of that sort. I mean, do you really think that that's going to make a huge difference in like making awareness? Trump, bashed the NBA protest, saying that the people that are pretty tired of hearing this, are tired of watching this, and
we are,
and the reviews on the NBA have gone down, significantly.
We're tired of watching unarmed black people get killed.
No, I'm just saying, people that are watching the NBA in general, like the reviews and all of that stuff are going down. There's bad reviews, less views are watching it, and it's become more of a political thing, the NBA, than a sport.
But that goes to show you where the level of empathy and empathy, not sympathy, empathy that the leaders of our country have when they get approached with that question of an unarmed black man getting shot, and his first comments about that situation is the ratings of the NBA. That goes to show you where America's head is at and why racial tensions are so high. Mm-hmm. You ask the leader of the free world, if you ask Obama about this question, even George Bush, Bill Clinton, any other president, you ask them about the situation, the leader of the country is going to have
Trump is an exception. This guy is he's another level.
But that's what I'm saying. That explains why the racial tension is so high. Our leader of the country is dividing the country. He's literally dividing the country. He thinks it's his supporters against everybody, us versus them. You know what I mean? And that's why. But going back to the NBA, I don't think it's them not playing can make an immediate impact. However, if they were to do it for a long time, like just say we're shutting down the entire season, they would have to have actionable things that they want to happen. We want this bill, the police reform bill passed in Congress. We want these.
So
things.
What was their thing that they were saying they wanted to be done?
It's tough because the Milwaukee Bucks were the first team to say they're not playing, and I think even LeBron had an issue with them unilaterally deciding to do that without them as a collective discussing those issues. Like, what exactly do we want happening?
Like, they just stopped playing. Like, what's the purpose of that? Like, people aren't going to be like, oh, I'm no longer racist because they protest.
But it raises awareness, though, right?
But there's already been awareness.
Not for
with the protests, with all this stuff. Like, everybody in the world knows about Black Lives Matter and protests and all that stuff. So not playing a game isn't gonna be like, oh yeah, now that they stopped playing games, now I'm not racist.
Not know about it, do something about it. That's the thing about it. People know about it, but when you just throw them some entertainment, throw them basketball, throw them football, it's easy to just to put it to the side and stuff like that, right? But when these situations keep happening and the people who society look up to, like LeBron James, like all these stars, now when they say this injustice is going to keep happening, y'all look up to us, guess what? We're not doing nothing either. That's when the world stops now. You saw how big of a story it was when it stopped playing? Well, that's power.
Anything LeBron does.
That's what I'm saying.
Power,
I think he's the most powerful athlete of all time. Even more than, I don't want to say more than Muhammad Ali, but
he's pretty powerful.
He wields a lot of power.
He literally starts Taco Tuesday and the world starts Taco Tuesday.
He tried to trademark Taco Tuesday. if they were to give him
they make a song about it. And this is just a little video on Instagram,
It's true, man.
So I agree, he is, one of the most powerful athletes in the world.
Which is why what he does is power. Which is why they did it. You know what I mean? So now we're like, things need to change, or what you guys consider normalcy, going back to normalcy. All this can stop. You know what I mean? I saw even a quote on
honestly, I feel, it's kind of a controversial statement, but
that's what we do here at Day and Night Podcast. Pick that controversial statement. But explain yourself as well. I don't want you saying it out loud. You know what I'm saying?
Everyone's gonna hate me. I fucking hate that kid.
We'll reel it back. Go ahead. Right. No. Speak your mind. What's up?
I feel like the racial discrimination is more going towards white people now. People are more racist towards white people than racial towards black people. Cause people used to like whatever color it was. Like I would go to a park or I would go to, go hoop You know, it was like, yeah, jump on my team. You know, like it's you know, like, yeah, we're you know, cool. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Ever since this thing happened, man, it's just a totally different vibe. Even hooping, bro. Playing basketball, bro.
Yeah.
I played basketball the other day, and it may or may not have been affiliated with it, but I could tell you it definitely was a strong portion of it. They're like, oh, we got 5. You know, we got people on our team. There was 2 people in the gym.
Maybe they just
it was your skills.
Maybe they thought you can hoop. Maybe they looked at you and were like, yo, we're trying to win. Think about it. You haven't done that before hooping? I've done it.
I've done it before, but I'm just saying.
I don't care if they're white or black. If I look at your body type and I'm like, I don't think you can hoop, bro. No. We got 5 already. So
No. Okay, that was a bad example.
Yeah, like that happens.
No. But just in
I'm not
general,
saying it's not that.
But just in general, I've seen the overall vibe, the overall atmosphere when being around African Americans. That just the vibe. You know, when you can try to sense someone's vibe, just walking into a room, you can sense the vibe of the room.
Yeah.
You know, how that person, they don't even have to say anything, but you sense their vibe.
But, you know, and this is the funny thing about you saying that. So black people have been feeling this in America for fucking ever. You know what I mean? So, and notice how you said before, it was just all the time, happy-go-lucky. So your entire life was just happy and joy. But these are the experiences that we have going into places that are majority white. We get that look. We get, you know what I'm saying? Black people get that look all the time. So you just, now that racial tensions have risen so much that now you're getting a little taste of how black people experience life in America. Now you think the world is falling. Now it's reverse racism. You know what I mean? It's more on white. Bro, you're just getting a taste of what it is to be black in America. You know what I mean? To be judged for your color prior to them knowing who you are. Welcome to Black America, baby. You're getting a taste of being judged because of your color without them knowing who you are. That's the story of Black America, son. You know what I mean? So just because now racial tensions are so high that now people are giving you that type of smoke, you know what I mean? That doesn't mean, it's happening to white people more than it's happening to you. No, it's just that maybe some people are sick of it now. And like, you know what? We're going to start doing the same shit that we experience. Yeah. Could that be the case? You know what I'm saying? In any case, I'm glad they started playing again, though. I'm glad they started hooping again.
Hey, me too.
The Lakers are
the next level.
You know what I'm saying? We about to. Yo, this episode ran deep. We won't be able to get into other topics right now. I think we're over an hour, but this, was a great discussion. Honking in the background, really solidifies, the
looking outside. There's about 1,000 people outside.
1,000 people. I would tell you our cross street we're at, but I'm not trying to blow my spot up.
Hey, top secret.
Top secret. But I think it's important, and this was great. Our energy was risen. We're really getting into good topics. But I think if America can have conversations like this more often, where different opinions can be brought to the table and you can thoroughly discuss them out without animosity and without like name calling, because a lot of times, especially on Instagram, you can't really judge Instagram, because that's where hate just breeds in the comment section. But just in general, like, to be able to have the conversation about race, the conversation about the protests and what's going on, like, the more regular people have these type of conversations, that's what's going to move the ball forward. And both people coming from an honest place. You know what I mean? If both people come from an honest place and just trying to get to a middle understanding, you lay all the facts on the table and everybody's searching for truth. That's where we push the ball forward.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think, and that's why they are going to court, because they're both hearing each other's sides of the story, and they're going back and forth what we did, and then they're going to come to a conclusion and be like this, that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think there is going to be consequences. I think that not all police officers are bad, that people shouldn't just go up to them and be like, oh, yeah, officers are all horrible people. But I feel that that's how it is. If you get pulled over and the cop is white, you're just naturally in your mind, even before knowing them, just like how maybe a cop, maybe a white person may pre-notion think of, oh, this person maybe have a bad background or something of that sort. You're naturally going to think the same thing of like, oh, this person, the white cop may shoot me, or I may be shot, or I may be that. And then the white officers think, oh man, I may, this may happen, so they're thinking what may happen. So it's kind of like a double, like both people.
You really struggle with double words, huh?
Yeah, I was gonna say double negative.
Sword, double negative. Like a couple episodes, you've really stumbled on. But hey, I'm proud of you for trying,
good,
bro.
man. It's the effort, a college degree.
No, but I mean, you hit it on the nail head. Everybody's operating from a place of fear in those high intensity situations. But the problem is only one of those parties have the legal immunity to take someone's life. And when I get pulled over and I'm scared of what might happen, and he's scared maybe of what might happen, guess what? He's the one with the weapon. So there needs to be more responsibility. Can we agree to that? There needs to be more responsibility on the professional in that situation to carry the situation correctly.
Yeah.
Not on the civilian, not on me. You know what I'm saying? Like I could be anybody. You're the professional with the gun that our taxpayers are paying your salary. So when I tell
and a lot of taxes, by the way.
A lot of taxes come out, you know what I mean?
A lot of taxes.
Exactly. So, but you know what I mean? Great conversation. We'll get into some other topics later on. We appreciate y'all tuning in. And it's Day and Night Pod. You have any closing thoughts?
Nah, man. I mean, we'll see what happens this week, with, the results of everything happening.
Right.
We'll see what the end result is. And that will, basically determine, is it progressing? Is it good,
Hopefully justice is served, baby. Justice for Jacob Blake.
Hopefully the Lakers have another championship on their on their belt.
It's a big fact.
So thanks for tuning in. Subscribe, click the link, tell your friends, family, dogs, cats, moms,
aunties, everybody
about it. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
This is the Day and Night Podcast, baby.
Hey.
Boom.